What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be reacting to how one crash ended an era, the rise and fall of Jimmie Johnson. I think I've only done like one video on Jimmie Johnson, but this video was requested by one of my Patreon members, so I'm just going to shut up and we'll get straight into it. I am looking forward to it. I don't really know much about him apart from the fact that he's got like 7 championships. So yeah, we're just going to get straight into it.
In 2016, a 41-year-old Jimmie Johnson won his 7th NASCAR Cup Series title in 11 seasons, joining an elite group
he
of
got
just
7
2 other drivers in NASCAR
11
history
seasons.
who were able
That's
to
crazy.
say they've won 7 NASCAR championships, cementing his legacy as an all-time legend of the sport. Yet just 12 races later, and he would be standing in victory lane as a NASCAR winner for what most likely is the last time, after a violent crash the next week would seemingly bring his winning ways to a screeching halt. Following that crash, we saw Jimmie Johnson in NASCAR going from running top 5 and competing for wins week in and week out, to immediately failing to be able to consistently run up front.
Oh no, that's
From
got to be
his
so
first winless
depressing.
Cup season the year after, to missing the playoffs his final 2 seasons, while still driving in top equipment, to now finishing near last every race he attempts in the Cup Series. So today we are going through the career of Jimmie Johnson, and how one crash ended his dominance in NASCAR.
Okay, give it to me.
Jimmie Johnson began his professional racing career, spending many years throughout the 90s racing in multiple off-road stadium and desert series, before he would end up meeting car owners Stan and Randy Herzog in 1995. The following year, the brothers would select Johnson to drive their
Look
trophy
at that footage.
truck, later leading to him making a few select ASA series races with them in 1997, before running full-time in 1998, beginning his first ever venture into asphalt racing. Johnson won 2 races and finished 3rd in the 1998 ASA standings, while also making his NASCAR debut in the Busch Series at IRP, where he would finish 25th driving for ST Motorsports, a team that would later become JTG Doherty Racing. Johnson and the Herzog brothers took their ASA success and went up to the Busch Series for a few select races in 1999, earning a 7th place run at Milwaukee in the team's debut, before going up to full-time for 2000. Driving the Altel 92, he would immediately fail to make the opening race at Daytona, yet rebounded with 6 top 10s and only 3 DNFs in his rookie season, ending up 10th in points. But the highlight of Johnson's 2000 season would be for the wrong reason, as during his road course debut in NASCAR, he would lose his brakes and slam into the turn 1 wall at Watkins Glen at over 150 miles per hour.
Over 150 miles per hour.
Happy to be alive.
Is the window net down? He's moving.
Yeah, you can see him moving very faintly there. Oh my god. Oh my goodness me! See the barrier just like explode into pieces. Crazy. Oh my god, he climbed out the car. And stood on top of it. That's incredible.
Johnson was setting himself up for a life-changing opportunity, asking Jeff Gordon during the pre-race at Michigan that season to talk, where he would later tell him that his sponsor would be leaving and that Herzog Motorsports would probably be shutting down.
Oh no.
What Johnson didn't know was Hendrick was looking to start up a 4th team in the Cup Series and was looking for a driver. Gordon would tell Johnson not to commit to anything for 2001. After impressing Gordon in the Busch Series race that day,
look how busy the
just
stand
1
is.
position ahead of him in 6th, it was enough to make him a front runner for the ride. And just 1 month later, on September 22nd, 2000, it was announced that Jimmie Johnson had been signed to Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh, okay.
2001
So
saw
he
a
went to
return to the
Hendrick.
Busch Series full-time again, where he would finally capture his first career win in NASCAR, coming at Michigan, the track that had just changed his life a year earlier.
I tell you what, this town is not safe for the Rambo.
One more corner before we start doing all that.
25-year-old Jimmie Johnson from Sussex.
God, he was 25 there. Wow.
Will take the first ever checkered flag at Chicagoland Speedway.
First ever checkered flag at Chicago, and he won it. Wow.
Wrapping the year up, he would make 3 Cup Series starts in the now iconic Hendrick 48, finishing 39th at Charlotte after wrecking in his debut,
Well, that stand looks pretty
and
empty.
25th and 29th to round out the year.
Oh no.
The following year in 2002, Jimmie Johnson ran his first full-time Cup season and shocked the entire world with one of the best rookie seasons ever seen. Joining into the Cup Series against some of the sport's greatest, he quickly established himself by winning the pole for the Daytona 500, followed up by 6 top 10s in his first 9 races
6
of the
top
season,
10s
including a
in the
3rd place
first
run at one
9
of the
races.
sport's hardest tracks at the time in Atlanta.
What?
It wouldn't be a surprise that next week in just his 13th race, when Johnson earned his first career win in his home state in
He got
California.
his first win at his home state.
Jimmie Johnson in his 13th start, going for his first career win and trying to become the 9th different
That's
driver
incredible
to win
if your
Winston
first
Cup
career
race
win
for Rick
is like
Hendrick.
your home
That thing
race.
doesn't quit running
Wow.
on him. He's got it made. We'll watch Kurt Busch drive off in this end before picks up about 3 car lengths. Jimmie Johnson eases back to that throttle.
Jimmie Johnson off turn 4, 6th in points, leading rookie on the tour, and he's going
There
to win
he
his
goes.
13th
Wow.
Here before a hometown crowd.
Wow. You can hear the crowd just going absolutely ballistic in the
After
background.
his first career win, Johnson would absolutely dominate the longest race in NASCAR.
Oh my God,
leading
that onboard is
263
crazy.
of the 400 laps
What?
in the
How can you even
Coca-Cola
you can't even
600,
see anything.
yet finishing 7th, after dumping the lap car of Bud Strickland with 36 to go, bringing out a yellow, and forcing him to lose all his track position after a pit road mistake.
Oh, that's not good.
He'd rebound the next week with another dominating run, this time coming at Dover, for his second win in 4 weeks, and his first of a record-setting 11 wins at the track, leaving him second in the standings, with a real shot to make a run at the championship.
Oh, he was second
The
in the
next 15
standings.
races put Johnson in the middle of a fight for the championship, sitting between 2nd and 5th in the standings for the entire time, until a crash on a restart at Bristol, thanks to a lap car seemed to end his
Oh
odds.
no.
But a last place finish from points leader Sterling Marlin at Richmond brought him right back to it, pushing even closer after sweeping the Dover races.
I mean, that just shows that you can have ups and downs and still be like within reach of the championship.
Jimmie Johnson sweeps the Monster Mile this season.
Wow.
Sitting just 30 points behind Mark Martin entering Kansas, with just 8 races remaining in the season, he would leave the track as the points leader by 11 points over Martin, after his engine blew late in the race, leaving him in 29th.
Oh, you're kidding.
While the points leader for a majority of the year, Sterling Marlin,
Oh, look
would
at
have
all
his
that
championship
damage.
run end after an injury following the crash that day at Kansas. Johnson became the first rookie driver to ever lead the point standings, but it would be a short-lived stay at the
He
top.
was the first rookie
following
driver
a
to
freak
ever lead the point
accident
standings.
in a rare Hendrick disaster class the following
The
week at
stats just keep
Talladega.
piling up.
Matt, do I hear Jimmie Johnson's also struggling?
Alan, the hits keep right on it coming for rookie Jimmie Johnson. Remember, he had that
Had an engine
opening
failure in the
accident at
final
beginning of the
60
race.
laps.
Now, he reports a new
Well, every
engine
Hendrick
down
car.
canals. I'm down on 7 cylinders, and it's getting worse. A bad day for the Hendrick engine department.
All 4 Hendrick
That's so
cars endured
depressing.
engine troubles that day, with none finishing higher than 37,
Oh, no.
ending his run at a rookie season championship. Tony Stewart would eventually win the 2002 championship, with Johnson finishing 5th in the standings, with 3 wins, 4 poles, 21 top 10s, and 6 top 5s.
Wow, that's
But
incredible.
would be edged out by Ryan Newman for Rookie of the Year, due to the aura of winning poles.
Now, can he just not
Oh,
overdrive?
listen to that
turn 3
engine.
where he can come off the exit of turn 4. We'll find out.
Insane.
He's building a real nice margin, though, as far as he goes down in that corner.
2003 is when Jimmie Johnson started to become a star in NASCAR, appearing in many commercials, while also becoming one of the
How
founding
young
members
he
of the
looked there.
Gillette Young Guns. On the track, he avoided a sophomore slump like it was the plague, winning 3 races throughout the course of the year, including his first Coca-Cola 600, earning redemption from his rookie year.
The race is official. Jimmie Johnson won $1 million last Saturday night, and he banks the Coca-Cola 600 tonight.
Wow.
Johnson would also sweep the
Oh
New
my
Hampshire
God,
races,
look at that.
ending the season
Look how full
finishing
the
second in
stand
the
is.
final
It's
standing,
insane.
just 90 points behind champion Matt Kenseth, ending the season with 3 wins, 2 poles, 14 top 5s, and 20 top 10s.
Wow.
2004 came with a radical change to the points format, with NASCAR adopting an end-of-season chase format for the first time,
Right.
which brought an end to a season-long dominance. Johnson would easily make it into the chase after 4 wins in the first 26 races. Yet once the chase began, it was a different 48 team for the first 4 races,
Oh no.
finishing 11th at New Hampshire, 10th at Dover, and DNFing at both Talladega and Kansas,
Oh.
leaving him 247 points back at the championship
247
lead, ninth
points
in the
behind.
standings, just 10 points out of being dead last, seemingly putting him out of the picture. But back-to-back wins at Charlotte and Martinsville would bring him up to 4th in the points, but still 207 back. However, his victory at Martinsville was the last thing on the mind of his team and the entire Hendrick organization, following a tragic plane crash involving the Hendrick family that
Oh
claimed
yeah,
10
because that
lives.
happened as well, didn't it?
Thank you, Alan. Normally, we would go to Victory Lane at this point for the post-race celebration. That will not be the case today. I'm with Jim Hunter, who's NASCAR's Vice President of Corporate Communications. And Jim, you have some very sad news.
Yes, we've been made aware the FAA reported they lost contact with a Hendrick Motorsports
Oh, this clip makes me
airplane
cry every single time.
bound for Martinsville earlier today.
Driving with the special car the next weekend in Atlanta
Oh, I
in
got chills.
remembrance of them, Jimmie Johnson would win his 3rd race in a row, an emotional victory for the entire Hendrick organization.
Yeah.
Johnson's got it. And unless he makes a big mistake in 3 and 4.
It's like it was written already. It's meant to be.
For that 48 car.
Buddy, come on, bring it home. Bring it home. Jimmie, don't do any burnouts, buddy.
The emotions of the victory for Jimmie Johnson.
The win pulled him to just 59 points back with just 3 races remaining. However, impressive runs of 6th at Phoenix, a win at Darlington, and a runner-up at Homestead would still not be enough to overcome the points deficit that was put on them after his awful first 4 races, leaving him just 7 points back in 2nd.
He was only 7
He'd wrap
points
up the
behind.
season with him having his best season up to that point, setting career highs in wins with 8, top 5s with 20, and top 10s with 23. 2005 was more the same for Johnson, leading the standings for 16 of the first 26 races and earning 2 wins along the way, including a 3rd straight Coca-Cola 600, barely beating Bobby
Oh
Labonte
my
in
god,
dramatic
wow.
fashion.
Look at them go.
These wins easily qualified him for the chase, but what nobody knew after this race was that was the last time someone other than Jimmie Johnson would win a cup title for the next half-decade.
Oh, wow.
2006 started off with what every driver dreams of doing.
I say, oh, wow, but they literally
When he
told
won
me
a
at the beginning that he
fog-filled
won like
Daytona
7 out throughout 11 championships or something.
Daytona 500. He's got to try, at least try to win.
Keep pedaling it, man. Keep pedaling.
That's it.
Clear by 4.
That's exactly that track behind him.
Oh my god, look at all the cameras flashing in the stands.
The race is over. Jimmie Johnson has won the Daytona 500.
Oh, wow.
Coming to the finish line. Great Biffle goes 3 in a row at Homestead. And Jimmie Johnson is the 2006
Oh, that was his
NASCAR
first
Nextel
championship.
Cup Series champion.
2007 would be one of Johnson's best career seasons, winning 6 times in the regular season at Las Vegas,
Wow, so
Atlanta,
his first championship was
Martinsville, Auto Club, and
2006.
sweeping the Richmond races. Johnson would go toe-to-toe with the man
I
who
was
got him
like
his ride
2
at Hendrick and Jeff Gordon
then.
for the championship, where he would go on to finish inside of the top 10 in 8 out of the final 10 races, with a worst finish of 15th twice, while
His
winning
worst
3
finish
races,
was 15th.
only relinquishing the points lead once throughout the entire chase.
What?
And when the series went to Homestead,
Need to keep a
his
count on
only
how many
job
times
was
I'm
to
going to say
not crash
what,
the
because
car,
this
and he would end up
whole
as the
video is
champion.
just like, huh? What is going on? These stats are crazy.
As a 3-time consecutive NASCAR Sprint Cup
3-time champion.
In 2009, Jimmie Johnson added 3 more wins
And they
to
were
his career
all in a
total
row.
in the regular season. But back-to-back wins at Auto Club and Charlotte will put him back in the points lead, and he would not give it up, finishing top 10 in 4 of the next 5 races, including
Finishing
a Phoenix
top
win.
10 in 4
Would
of
set
the
him up
next
to be
5
108
races.
points ahead
Are
going
you
into
kidding?
Homestead, again with the only job of not wrecking his car.
But folks, the story is history being made by a driver, Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, history for sure was made there.
Open up the history books,
4
folks. On a
consecutive
November night in
championships.
2009, Jimmie Johnson is a 4-time Cup winner.
What?
Johnson entered 2010 with a chance to do the unthinkable and win 5 straight championships at NASCAR's highest level, starting off his season with his 50th career win at the Spring Bristol race.
Here he comes off of turn 4. Checker flag. Jimmie Johnson scores his 50th career Sprint Cup win.
50th career win the next season.
2010 was also a change of eras at Hendrick Motorsports. No longer was Jeff Gordon the top driver at Hendrick, as seemingly in a flash, Jimmie Johnson had matched his career championship totals and was outrunning him week in and week out. And eventually the 2 drivers would begin to have run-ins with each other.
Oh, of course they would. Always happens. It always...
4 times a little upset.
4 times a little upset? Ah!
How he's treated different than everybody else.
Here we are.
It's always the
going down
teammate,
back.
doesn't it?
Here, right in here. Here's Jeff Burton going right there. He and Jeff Gordon. And you see Gordon gets down on the apron. Jimmie Johnson crowded.
The 48 is testing my patience, I can tell you that. It takes a lot to make me mad, and I'm pissed right now. I mean, you know, when a car's going that much faster, I don't know what it is with me and him right now, but, you know, whatever. But
whatever.
Along with that, he would also spark a feud with Kurt Busch that would carry over into the next season, after Jimmie Johnson bumped Kurt out of the way for a win at New Hampshire, following prior contact, stating, "I thought, I don't care if I win this race or not. I don't care if I get to the finish of this damn thing.
I'm running
into
him.
and I'm getting by one way or another. Johnson's bid at 5 in a row would be
I love
the
that
25th
like
place run to
NASCAR
open up
drivers,
the
they
chase,
just don't
followed
care,
by his lone
and
win in
they're
the final
allowed to
10
just
races,
like
coming at Dover.
bump
He would
and
battle
run
with
and
Denny
all of
Hamlin
this
mostly
shit.
throughout the chase,
Whereas
leading
like
for most of
F1,
the
you
way.
don't see that in F1.
But a win at one of Johnson's best tracks in Texas
It's
for
very
Hamlin,
controlled.
while Johnson finished 9th, put the 48 back to 2nd in the standings, with just 2 races left. Later being saved the next week from another Hamlin win, after a few mileage race at Phoenix left the 11 team in 12th instead of Victory Lane,
Oh no.
only giving him a 15-point lead over Johnson when the series went to Homestead. Hamlin rolled off the grid in 37th for Homestead, putting himself in a hole early, and unfortunately for him, a lap
Yeah, that's not
25
good.
spin
He's
into the
gonna
grass
go all
would
the way
damage
down the
car,
points.
hindering any chance he had at leaving the
Standings.
track with a title, as Johnson's impressive 2nd place run when he needed it most would give him an unbelievable 5th championship in a row.
5th championship in a row. I knew that he had 7 championships, but I didn't know that they were in a row, or some of them anyway. That's 5 in a row.
2011 would be an off year for Johnson wins-wise, but he managed to keep up his consistent ways, winning just once in the regular season during the spring Talladega race, and what would be a tie for the closest finish in NASCAR history at the time, coming just 2/1000ths of a second away from being winless
Oh my
for
God,
the
look at that
first time
shot.
through 26 races.
That's crazy.
He would nearly change that after a battle between him and Jeff Gordon at Atlanta, but being bested by the veteran. Throughout 2011, he would also carry over his mini rivalry with Kurt Busch from the year prior,
Of course.
having run
Can't
into
let that go.
Pocono and Richmond, seeing Johnson attempt to
no.
intentionally wreck someone for the first time.
He didn't even make it to the other car before like spinning
Expected
to the
a fierce
side.
performance when the chase began, the 48 team would do just that, finishing top 10 in 3 of the first 4 races, including a 2nd place at Dover and his 2nd win of the year at Kansas. Entering one of his best tracks on the circuit
See,
in
it
Charlotte,
still looks so
just 4
busy
points
there.
back in the
I don't know what
championship
year this
lead,
is, but
he seemed poised to go on a run and win his
2011 or 12?
However, a heavy crash
When
into
did
the turn
NASCAR,
2
like,
wall at
start
Charlotte,
dying
and
down?
a lackluster 26th place
I don't
finish at
know.
Talladega left him 7th in the standings to finish 6th in the points, ending the year with a 32nd place run at Homestead, finally allowing
Right.
NASCAR to crown a new champion at season's end.
So he
this
finished
time being Tony
6th that
Stewart.
year.
Coming out of the gates hot in 2012.
So he got the first 5
winning
in a
7
row.
top 10s in the first 9 races.
What about his
Johnson
2
wanted
other
to be the driver who
championships?
got Hendrick his 200th win, nearly coming at Martinsville, but David Rudiman had other plans.
Now, the drivers that were close on fuel, this is not what you wanted to see.
Oh my God, they will just turn like dominoes.
Rudiman did not go to the pits while
That's
ago.
not good.
Hendrick wouldn't have to wait long for their 200th win though, as just 4 races later Jimmie Johnson brought home his first win of the year in Darlington, and Hendrick Motorsports' 200th win all time. Securing 2 more wins before the chase, one
That's
at
got to be a
Dover,
problem
and a
if
4th
you
Brickyard
bring a
400
team there
win.
like
It seemed like
200th
the only
win.
thing he couldn't do in NASCAR
To know
was
that
break his
you
curse and
probably
win at
got a lot of
Michigan.
those wins yourself
Out
as
of
well.
everything he'd done in NASCAR, this seemed to be the hardest thing for him to conquer. And with a blown engine while leading with 6 to go, he'd have to wait yet another year to have a chance at winning there.
Oh no.
Starting off the chase with back-to-back runner-ups at Chicago and New Hampshire, Johnson left the 2nd race leading the standings. That was until Brad Keselowski won his 2nd out of the first 3 races of the chase, while Johnson finished 4th, putting the 48 5 points behind entering the wild
But he's only
card
5
at
points
Talladega.
behind, so
Both drivers would make it through the race cleanly, and Johnson entered the final corner ahead of Keselowski and was half a mile away from escaping Talladega with a minor points gain on him, until Tony Stewart obliterated the field with one of the worst blocks in NASCAR history.
Oh, I think I've seen that clip before. I think I've done a video that's like worst blocks, and I
Keselowski
think
would
that
skate
came
the
up.
and wind up all the way in 7th place.
Look at the
While
wreck.
Johnson was mashed
What?
into the wall, ending up in 17th, now dropping him to 14 points
Such
behind Keselowski,
big damage
being
there.
saved by leading a few laps. At Phoenix while Keselowski was leading, he would blow a tire while running in 7th, just 3 points behind the points lead.
Keselowski very comfortable. We got a problem with the.
Oh, he's got a problem.
Jimmie Johnson has hit the wall.
Oh, look at the tire.
The blown tire would drop him to 20 points behind entering Homestead, and needed Keselowski to suffer a problem. However, it would end up being them who suffered all the problems, having a pit road penalty, followed by a gear failure, leaving him in 36th place and 3rd in the standings to end the season. The Gen
So he
6
was
era of
3rd in
NASCAR
the
would start off
standings
in
then.
2013, and to nobody's surprise it was Jimmie Johnson winning the first points race in it, taking home the
Of course.
2nd Daytona 500 of his
Am I
career.
surprised? No.
The green flag still flies. Martin's number 55. Keselowski in the 2. Biffle backing
Is he
up.
gonna push him?
Patrick behind him. for the second time. The Daytona 500 goes to Jimmie Johnson, 5-time champion.
There's like no cars there. Oh, they're all down the back. I was like, where are they?
Johnson won 4 times in the regular season of 2013 and led the standings for all but 2 races. Yet once the points reset for the chase, it was Matt Kenseth who led the points after winning the first 2 races of it. Using his consistency, Johnson would get back to the points lead after Talladega, later being tied following Martinsville. With 3 races left in the season, and being tied for the championship lead, the 48 team put up a flawless stretch to end the season.
Champion for the 6th time, it's Jimmie
Champion
Johnson.
for the 6th time. I don't know what year his last championship was
in 2014
either, so.
would bring an end to the chase format that Johnson
Oh,
absolutely
and they brought
dominated.
the playoffs
So how
in.
would the new win-and-you're-in playoff format suit him? But once Johnson finished 40th at Kansas to start the round, and 17th at Charlotte, he was sent into Talladega in a must-win situation.
Yeah.
With his back against the wall in the first ever Talladega elimination race, Johnson would lead a race-high 84 laps and dominate the show.
Oh,
sitting in
wow.
position to make a charge for the win just
So
before
he needed
green
a
flag
win,
pit stops,
and he was
running in
leading.
second. But a caution during the cycle late in the race would shuffle the running order and put Johnson back to 6th for a late race
Oh, that's
restart,
not good.
where he would drive
I was
up
getting hopeful
and
there.
contend against Ryan Newman for the lead with 6 to go. A caution would fly soon after, while Johnson was in 4th, and on the restart Kurt Busch would ruin his season, immediately pushing him out 3 wide, forcing him to lose all his track position and fall back to the mid-20s,
no.
later finishing 24th, and eliminating him from just the second round. A win at Texas to round out the year would ease the pain of getting eliminated in the second round of the first playoffs. But at season's end, the team would finish outside of the top 10 in points for the first time, finishing 11th in the standings.
Only the first time, though, they finished outside the top 10 in points.
Hoping to make it past the second round of the playoffs in 2015, Jimmie Johnson and the 48 team would start off the season hot, winning 4 of the season's first 13 races, clinching his playoff spot. The first race of the
So he
playoffs would
made
be
it
a
to the
tough one for
playoffs in
Johnson,
2015.
suffering multiple issues that would ruin a good run for him, and even getting into it with Kevin Harvick off the track after Johnson caused him to blow a tire and wreck, trying to attempt a bold 3-wide pass below the white that was never going to work.
Way out of shape was the 48.
Whoa, what are they doing?
Turn 1.
There it is.
Around goes the 4.
Oh no.
So they're going to discuss it.
Oh,
And
that
maybe a
doesn't
little
really
more
look
than
like
discussion.
discussing to me.
Sports full of emotions, you know. Kevin Harvick feels
That's
like he
called
was done
punching.
wrong and he wants to express his displeasure with Jimmie.
A 6th place run in New Hampshire the following week left him with a comfortable 27-point lead ahead of the cut line, going into the round of 16 cutoff race at Dover, a track he had dominated in years past. But a $5 part would end his season.
Oh,
Either the right rear hub has gone bad, or
it's just
another
never
issue
ending.
is there's seals
He went
inside
from
the housing
getting
that
like
keeps the gear
5
off,
championships
keeps
in
the
a
rear
row,
cool.
and then
If
getting
those
his
seals
6th one.
fail and you go in a
And now he's
circle,
having a
guess
bit
where
of
the
a
grease
downfall
goes?
after the
To
playoffs
right
have
side of the
been
race car, fills the hub,
brought in.
Covers the wheel.
Are we going to the garage, Cliff?
That's good.
Yeah, he's going to the garage. He's going to the garage.
Tying Dale Earnhardt at 76 wins, before breaking the tie just 3 weeks later at Auto Club for his 2nd win of the season.
Oh wow.
However, that would be the last win of the regular season for him, as he would struggle through the rest of the way,
Oh, are you
eventually
kidding?
dropping out of the top 10 in
I was
points.
having hope
after
that
the
that might
25th
be
race
his
of the
next
year at
championship.
Darlington left him just 5 points out of Austin Dillon.
Great, it's always Austin
Once
Dillon,
the
isn't
playoffs
it?
began, Johnson would get through the first round with ease, this time with 2 top 10 runs. A win at Charlotte in the first race of the round of 12 put the 48 team in the round of 8 for the first time, and another win in the first race of the round, this time at Martinsville, would send Johnson to Homestead with a chance to win his 7th NASCAR championship.
Is this going to
At
be his
Homestead,
7th
Johnson
championship?
started from the rear of the field due to a pre-race inspection issue. A fantasy yellow for Dillon left him would change everything, as on the ensuing restart, Carl Edwards
Oh my
would block
God.
Joey Logano too far and get turned in front of
What
the
on
field,
earth was that?
causing a massive
As soon as he
crash,
weaved out, I was
allowing
like, are
the
you
48
kidding?
to sneak through in prime position for a
That is not going to
championship.
work.
Another caution for Ricky Stenhouse forced an overtime restart, where Johnson sent it into turn 1 to steal the lead from Larson, driving to his record-tying 7th championship a lap after.
Oh.
Jimmie Johnson through 3 and 4. Make room. Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champ.
Wow, so he did get his 7th championship that year. I knew that year rang a bell when he was talking about it. I was like, I swear, I didn't know what years he won his championships, but I had a feeling I knew what
again started off
year
as a
it was
struggle
he
for
won his
Johnson,
7th championship.
collecting just 1 top 10
I think I
in the
heard
first
it in
6
a
races,
previous video.
before winning the first race at a newly configured Texas, and following that up with a win at Bristol the next week. And in something that nobody could guess at the
Oh my
time,
God, what is
his win
happening?
at Dover a few weeks later would be his 83rd and final win.
Oh,
just 6 months
that's
removed from winning
heartbreaking.
a
I just got
championship the year
goosebumps.
prior.
and Jimmie Johnson will tie Cale Yarborough on Stock Car Racing's all-time win list. Johnson wins his 11th at Dover.
Oh, wow.
Fans here in Dover because they're all cheering.
The following week at Pocono would mark the end of the Jimmie Johnson era in NASCAR, as after this heavy crash into turn 1 following a brake failure, at 200 miles per hour, he hasn't been the same.
48 car, but it could be that Jamie Mack hit something from the 48 car.
Or were there any parts or pieces that flew off the 48 car?
That is
hard. Wicked hit.
Remember, we're talking 200 mile an hour down
Yeah,
into
that looked like
corner.
very hard
Over the next
impact
13
there.
races of the playoffs, the 48 team wouldn't collect a single top 5, the longest stretch of his career up to that point, with his lone highlight being a three-wide move at the Brickyard 400 while blowing up, in an effort to win one final
It's weird
time,
how all
but
of
spinning
these,
and
in any
crashing out.
motorsport, people are getting like 7 championships and then just can't get the next one. It's like there's a bit of a
Again,
curse
once
going
the
on.
playoffs began, Johnson easily made it through the first round. Starting off the round of 12, he'd finished 7th at Charlotte and 24th at Talladega.
Oh,
after
what
being
a big
involved
fat
in the
wreck
big
that
one,
is.
putting him just 7 points out of the cut line when they went to Kansas. Finishes up 12th at Martinsville, 27th at Texas, and 39th at Phoenix following a crash, would swiftly eliminate him from the playoffs, leaving him 10th in the standings at season's end. Sporting a new all-black look for 2018,
wow.
Johnson's decline would
That
still be in
looks
full
sick.
effect,
I love the,
failing to make it
like,
into the
black
top
look
10 in
there.
points all year, while also earning just 2 top
With
5s
the,
on
like,
the
fluorescent
season,
colours
both
on top,
coming
looks
before
nice.
June. And to make matters worse, on March 14, 2018, longtime sponsor Lowe's announced they would no longer sponsor the car following 2018,
Oh, that's never a good
marking
sign
the
if
end
you're
of a
losing a
17-year-long
sponsor.
partnership. Johnson would still make the playoffs despite all this, but it would be a first-round elimination.
This chicane, turn 12. He's going to have to come out of there on the back bumper, that 78, to make a move in the braking zone.
What
of 16
happened?
and 17. Yeah, so 48's only 7 points to the good, so he may he's there.
Oh.
Look, he's there. What a great corner.
Here they come.
He's right behind him.
Banked curve at Charlotte Roval. Now he goes to the inside.
Oh no, he looked up. Oh no. That's heartbreaking. Oh, and he spun around as well. Oh my.
He stopped. He came to a full stop to make sure that he was good with NASCAR. Where's he going to finish?
Following the end of the 2018
That
season,
has got to
his
be,
crew
like,
chief for his entire Cup
shattering.
tenure, Chad Knaus, would leave the team
All
after
hopes
years
and
of
dreams
dominance
there.
with Johnson, to instead crew chief William Byron. This would come after a late season collapse from Johnson, which took him from 13th in the standings all the way down to 18th. A mid-season crew chief swap for Cliff Daniels would not save the team, as they'd wrap up 2019
God,
18th
that's
in
got
the
to be
final
even more
standings, a
traumatic
career
and
low for
annoying
Jimmie
if your
Johnson,
team
missing the
then
playoffs for the first
swaps
time.
crew chiefs.
Following the disappointing season, on November 20th, 2019, Jimmie Johnson would announce that 2020 would be his last full-time season in Cup.
Oh wow.
The sport has been good to me and has allowed me to do something I truly love.
Oh, I'm getting emotional, and I wasn't even watching it when
I
he
showed
was
up chasing a
driving.
dream and achieved more than I ever thought possible. I'm looking forward to next season and celebrating what will be my last year as a full-time NASCAR Cup driver.
Oh.
In his retirement tour, he would start off the year
Damn.
collecting multiple top 10s, before the sports world would shut down for 2 months due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And a second place in his final Coca-Cola 600, before being DNQ'd, putting him all the way down to 40th.
Oh.
3 straight top 10s at Bristol,
It's just
Atlanta,
never ending.
and Martinsville, pushed him up to 11th in points, firmly in the
Sounding
playoffs.
like Truex Jr.
until
in his
0 top
final
10s
year at
over
the
the
moment.
next 9 races, and missing a race
Just
due to
heartbreak
COVID,
on
put him
heartbreak
all the
on
way below
heartbreak.
the cut line. The 48 team would swap to a white scheme with 4 races
Oh, I
remaining
like
before
that
the
white scheme,
playoffs
actually.
to try and fix their luck,
Looks
and it would
nice.
partially work, stringing together finishes of 4th, 7th, and 3rd over the next 3 weeks before the elimination race, putting him just 4 points behind William Byron and 9 behind Matt DiBenedetto entering Daytona, with a chance to make the playoffs in his final year. However, it wasn't meant to be.
22, Logano's gonna take the
Oh, so close. Oh, is that going to be a big wreck?
Bubba Wallace sideways, can he save it?
Oh, yeah. It was a bit of a delayed one. It took a while for the wreck to happen there. Look at all the sparks flying everywhere. Oh, not Jimmy.
The final 10 races
I
of Johnson's full-time
expected
NASCAR
that
career
was
would be a
happening,
struggle,
but
as he failed to capture a top 10 until rounding out his career with a 5th place run at Phoenix, later renaming it to Legacy Motor Club, while also announcing he would return to NASCAR in a part-time role starting in the Daytona 500. Johnson would make the race as an open entry, posting the fastest lap of the open cars, but would be involved in the big one during the race. His next starts wouldn't fare much better though, finishing last at Coda after failing to complete a lap.
He should have just left it as it is.
Coca-Cola
He's come back to more heartbreak.
Lap 115 to wrap up his year. In 2024, he's increased his starts, yet has still struggled heavily with a next-gen car, finishing 28th in the Daytona 500, 28th at Texas, 28th at Dover, last at Kansas following
quite a few 28ths there.
29th at Charlotte, 33rd at Indy after having his best run in the car, but still being involved in a crash, and 36th at Kansas, after a lap 1 crash would ruin his day.
That's not good.
But until he makes more starts, that's it for Jimmie Johnson in NASCAR. While Johnson's decline in performance following 2016 was a sharp fall, it doesn't diminish his legacy as one of NASCAR's all-time greats.
Oh yeah, for sure.
His 7 championships, 83 career wins, and extraordinary consistency over a 20-year career are remarkable achievements that few in the sport's history have ever matched. His decline was mostly a natural progression seen in many drivers over time, as younger drivers, and changing conditions to the cars, and the way we crown champions within the sport made it harder for him to maintain his dominance. Nonetheless, Johnson remains a legend in NASCAR, and when he's inducted into the Hall of Fame at the end of the year, it'll be where he rightfully belongs.
Aww. Oh, that's a beautiful shot there. Well, that was a very good video. Like I said before the video started, I don't know, well, I didn't know much about Jimmie Johnson, obviously, apart from the fact that he had won 7 championships. I didn't know what years those championships were. I didn't know that 5 of them were in a row. That was kind of crazy. And then, like, the downfall he had afterwards. I was going to say, I'm sure he came back after his retirement because he's been in a few races this year and I've seen him, like, race. So that explained that. But yeah, that was a very good video. I do enjoy watching. I've done loads and loads of videos on NASCAR now, but I've only done a handful on like specific drivers. So I do love it when one of you says, oh, can you react to this driver or this driver? So yeah. Big thank you to my Patreon members for requesting this video. And with that being said, if you have any other videos that you'd like me to react to, drop them in the comments. I'm working my way through everybody's suggestions at the moment. If you did want to check out any of my other socials or become a Patreon member and get early access to videos like this or top priority over your suggestions, then you can do all of that down below. And if you want to become a member on this channel and receive exclusive perks, you can also do that by hitting the join button down below. But I hope you enjoyed today's reaction and I will catch you next time for the next one. Bye!